Hi Poke fans, Harry here, and throughout the many versions of the Kanto region, one question has always puzzled me. How was Giovanni, the leader of a criminal gang, able to be a gym leader? Well, that is what this video works to find out. But before we get into that, don't forget to subscribe, also leave a like and comment down below, and let's get in to the video. So, to just start off, I want to set a couple of ground rules. I am mainly going to be focused on the games because throughout the different universes, the games, the anime, and the manga, they follow their own rules. And I'm going to be focused on the games because that's where we see Giovanni being the gym leader the most. And it doesn't really fit in that if he's the leader of a criminal gang, how he's able to be a gym leader in the game's logic. Because if we just take a look at the Adventures manga, it is revealed that the gym leaders Lieutenant Surge, Koga and Sabrina are executives in Team Rocket as seen in the Red, Green and Blue arc of the Adventures manga. And on top of that, so not only does he have already extra gym leaders being gym leaders, also the Kanto Elite Four are seeking to wipe out humanity as seen in the Yellow arc of the Adventures manga. So it is seen that they can be completely despicable humans seen as prominent figures in evil gangs, and they can hold a position as like gym leaders or Elite Four members. Yet the manga is wild. There is like murder, like stealing and genocide just seen in the manga, and it is like glossed over most of it. The manga is crazy. And of course, this differs a lot from the games because it's shown that Lieutenant Surge, Koga and Sabrina aren't part of Team Rocket and the Elite Four aren't evil, because we know in the Kanto games that Lance, now the champion, originally the top member of the Elite Four in the Kanto games, helps the player defeat Team Rocket as seen in the Johto games, literally opening up Team Rocket's headquarters to the player character. So if he was part of, like, if the Elite Four were evil, why would he help the player character defeat Team Rocket? And also, with Lance being a good guy and the head of the champion, the Kanto gym leaders, be it of Lieutenant Surge, Koga and Sabrina, can't be evil because Koga literally gets promoted to the Elite Four, meaning that if Lance is good, then Koga can't be a member of, like, Team Rocket because Lance has literally helped the player character literally take down all of Team Rocket. And it's not like Lance has just turned good and the rest of the Elite Four are still evil, because Bruno is still an Elite Four member. So if Lance is good, Bruno has to be good as well to have maintained his position in the Elite Four. And also, this tracks in the anime as well, because Lance helped Ash and the gang defeat Team Rocket in the episodes Talking About an Evolution and Rage of Innocence. And he was already trying to stop like Team Rocket before Ash and the gang appeared, meaning that Lance was trying to stop Team Rocket of his own volition, meaning he was good. And the same thing we see when we are playing through the Johto games. Lance is already concerned about what Team Rocket is doing and is working to stop them. So it means that the champion, the Elite Four, and the Kanto and Johto gym leaders can't be part of Team Rocket in the games or the anime. So, the question remains, how can Giovanni be a gym leader if he was an evil team leader? Well, because of backstory and lore in Pokemon, we know that certain people in Kanto, in important positions, previously worked with Giovanni to create the Legendary Pokemon Mewtwo. Yes, Mewtwo wasn't just brought about by Giovanni, but he had a whole list of people helping him. Because it is seen that the people helping him are Mr. Fuji, who, in the events of the Kanto games, owns the Pokemon house where abandoned Pokemon are cared for, Blaine, the 7th gym leader, and Professor Oak, of course, the Pokemon professor of the Kanto region. And I think the reason Giovanni is able to become a gym leader in Kanto is Professor Oak. And you might be a bit confused by what I'm talking about, but Professor Oak held a powerful position before in the Kanto region, not just being the Pokemon professor. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I made a video on who was the original Kanto champion, and I will link that video up in the cards above. So check that out if you haven't already, because it kind of is the backbone of this theory that Professor Oak was able to help Giovanni maintain his position as gym leader. Because if it was revealed that Professor Oak helped Giovanni create Mewtwo, he would be risking the lives of Mr. Fuji and Blaine, who have built their own lives, and also maybe his own family's lives too, like Blue and Daisy. So it was just easier to let Giovanni an important position to almost placate him, rather than risking the lives of his own family, as well as Mr. Fuji and Blaine, his two friends, as well as his own life. Because with Giovanni being an evil leader, I'm pretty sure that Professor Oak would not put it past Giovanni to, well, kill Professor Oak and Mr. Fuji and Blaine. And the reason I think Professor Oak gave Giovanni that position when Professor Oak was champion and he could give out gym leader positions was not only to placate Giovanni, but also to keep himself, Mr. Fuji, and Blaine safe. And it is seen that these three people are trying to repent for their actions in the games, and also kind of the anime as well. Because Mr. Fuji Mr. Fuji is now caring for abandoned Pokemon that have been just abandoned throughout the Kanto region. He is now trying to care for all Pokemon because he knows that he made a mistake trying to create a legendary Pokemon. So now he is caring for all those abandoned Pokemon. And this is seen mostly in the Pokemon Origins episode Cubone, which is an amazing watch and gives you more insight into Mr. Fuji. Also, Blaine is seen to repent as well, because he is gym leader and also is quite a high-ranking position, the 7th gym leader, but he also helps for, the Kanto region as well. He helps train new trainers so that they are absolutely ready to face off against Giovanni, because he knows how dangerous Giovanni is, so he needs to give it his all, so the player character, or characters that even try to face the Viridian Gym, know what they're up against when they go to battle against Giovanni. So Blaine is trying to keep everyone safe who is battling through the gym challenge. And Professor Oak is seen to be really repentant as well. He is the Pokemon professor, a high-ranking position in Pokemon society. Everyone looks to them for Pokemon knowledge. So he is trying to make the whole world a bit more knowledgeable. And also, I think the reason that Professor Oak gave Red and Blue Pokemon in the games and gave 4 trainers Pokemon in the Pokemon anime was because he believed at least one of them would be able to kick Giovanni out of the Viridian Gym and disband Team Rocket, which is what became true as seen in the events of the Kanto games and also the events of the Johto games. And I think Professor Oak knew that even though he was putting his faith in kids, he knew that he couldn't defeat Giovanni, and that if he basically revealed all the secrets of them creating Mewtwo, it would not only ruin his life, but it would ruin Mr. Fuji's life, Blaine's life, and maybe even the lives of his own family, like Blue and Daisy. But you might be asking, why didn't the other gym leaders or the Elite Four help? And I think the other gym leaders maybe didn't even know what's going on. I mean, yes, you could say, how did Sabrina not know when Saffron City was literally getting overrun with, like, Team Rocket members? But in the anime, she is seen as a bit loopy, to be an understatement. But you might be thinking, well, what about the Elite Four then? Well, I think Professor Oak was able to put off the Elite Four, as they somewhat respected him, as implied by the email at the start of the Kanto Games, and if you saw my previous video, that Professor Oak was the champion. And I think the reason he put them off was kind of not to get into a big, well, media scandal that could dismantle the whole of the Kanto region. I don't think he was even doing that as in a selfish way, like protecting his own hide. Like, if the Elite Four found out, they wouldn't look at him the same. But I think it would basically shatter the Kanto region's financial capabilities. Like, no one would want to visit Kanto ever again. I know that is a bit crazy to, like, imply real-world science and, like, logistics and that to the Pokemon world, but I think, like, they still need some tourism business in Kanto, and I think if a scandal got out like that, the Elite Four battling one of the highest gym leaders, then it would harm Kanto's financial, well, stability forever. And Professor Oak knows that if he just lets it be, then Giovanni will not bring any unwanted attention to the Viridian Gym. Because Giovanni, like, mitigates evidence that he could be the Viridian Gym Leader anyway. Because he's away often, meaning people just passing through won't know that he's the Gym Leader. And even the Viridian Gym Guide, the person that is supposed to tell you how to overcome this Gym Leader, doesn't know that Giovanni is the Gym Leader. And that's, like, crazy, but it's also why I think Professor Oak didn't, like, almost, like, poke the hornet's nest then, in a way. He thought these kids would fly under the radar, but were strong enough to take down Giovanni and Team Rocket. And he was right. And it's seen just throughout the games, throughout the lore of Mewtwo, that multiple scientists tried to create the best Pokemon. You thinking, why would they create a legendary Pokemon? Well, I think they were doing so they could protect Kanto, so that if anything really bad happened, like the war in Carlos, they could protect themselves. And I don't think they knew how manipulative Giovanni could maybe be. Giovanni may not have started off having horrible intentions, but he definitely grew them throughout his time as the leader of Team Rocket. And really, that is a shame, because Giovanni was friends with Professor Oak, Mr. Fuji, and Blaine, and he used them all. And Professor Oak knew, like, about Giovanni so much that he knew how he could be defeated. I think Professor Oak gave up his champion title because if he was champion, then maybe Giovanni would be more agitated and maybe be more reactive and drag the whole of the Kanto region into a war. And he knew that being Pokemon Professor, he could give some Pokemon to kids that had the potential to defeat Giovanni, because he had faith that even though he did something wrong, trying to right it would eventually right it. But that's just my thoughts. Let me know down in the comments below what you think of this theory. Do you think the reason why Giovanni was able to become a gym leader, hang on to the gym leader position, and eventually be disbanded as a gym leader, all came from Professor Oak? Or do you have your own theories? Let me know down in the comments below. And also, if you like this video, don't forget to leave a like, also subscribe, and share it out. And I will see you in the next one.